Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Huge development, and I think this is a point of no return. No return between Russia and the European Union and the United States primarily, and its weasel countries. Russia cannot come back, and I wonder if they are aware of this point of no return. What happened? The European Union, one of their little committees, recognized the removal of children, Ukrainian children, by the Russian, the way they did it and how many and what they tell us, what was the Russians' intention and all that. They recognized that act as genocide. Well, if you have that act as a genocide as a country, you cannot come back from that. It's, I don't know how to say, in a relationship with someone, I don't know, someone gets physical and, destroys the other person, I don't know, someone cheats the other person with some other person, I don't know, someone, I don't know, does something very bad. You can't pass that. You can't come back from that. So let's see what this article is going to tell us and what arguments this little committee has. It's called PACA. I will have this acronym. I will disclose it down here. Is the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe. So this article comes from Ukrainska Pravda from today, the 27th of April 2023. So, PACE recognizes deportation of Ukrainian children to Russia as genocide. So that's it. That's it. Putin and the current leadership and the country of Russia is forever stained in a history as, remember the Bible, the New Testament, not both, the New Testament in front of Pilate. Now, remember that statement that some people don't like, his blood be on our hands and our these hands and our these hands and our all right, that's what's going on here. Now, the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, PACE, has recognized the deportation and forcible transfers of Ukrainian children to the territory of Russian Federation as genocide. Now, this in itself, without a certain kind of intent, it's not a genocide. Genocide is with the intent of destroying a nation. Why they didn't put it here? The intent, they will put it in the next paragraph or next paragraphs, okay? Now, details. The resolution titled Deportations and Forcible Transfers of Ukrainian Children and Other Civilians to Russian Federation or the Ukrainian territories temporarily occupied, create conditions for their safe return, stop these crimes and punish the perpetrators, was adopted in Strasbourg. Now, the Assembly, now this is what they say. The Assembly underscores that the forcible transfer, this is a general thing, of children from one group to another group with the intention to destroy, totally or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group is considered as a crime of genocide under Article 2, Paragraph E of the 1948 Genocide Convention, which matches with the documented evidence of deportation and forcible transfer of Ukrainian children to the Russian Federation or territories temporarily under Russian occupation. The resolution states, so they found that the Russian actions fit this definition of genocide. So according to their evidence, documented evidence of deportation, was done with the intention to destroy totally or part of national, ethnic, which is Ukrainian, national, right, religious group, in this case, no, is a crime and genocide. So they put this together. Based on this, Russia is committed genocide. Their document reports that the illegal deportation of Ukrainians to the Russian Federation from the temporarily occupied territories of Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast started before the beginning of the full-scale Russian aggression against Ukraine, when children from orphanage and disabled children were deported. I wonder why. I'm not justifying it, I just want to know why. Why would they do that? I mean, what do you get people with disabilities and get them and bring them in your country? To kill them? What are they going to do with them? Anyway, probably the PACE has the information. The PACE called upon the International Criminal Court, ICC, to consider the possibility of criminal responsibility for this crime. And I'm quoting, "The Assembly also supports the need for thorough recording, gathering, and assessment of evidence of the crime of genocide as provided by both the Rome Statute and the Genocide Convention. The Assembly supports the investigation and prosecution of the state policy of forcible transfer and deportation of Ukrainian children by the Russian Federation and Ukraine's potential actions before the International Criminal Court and International Court of Justice," the document states. All right? So, the state of France, the upper chamber of the French parliament, called upon the institutions and member states of the EU to collect evidence of the forcible displacement of the Ukrainian children to Russia and impose sanctions against the Russian officials responsible for these crimes. Now, this is what PACE declared. I don't know exactly what's the next step in this. I don't know if this is like the official letter, declaration, stamped, and that's it. From now on, Russia is considered a country that committed genocide. You know, like they call the Armenian genocide, they call the Holodomor, you know, and so on. This is another one. So, what are they going to do now? What are the Russians going to do? Probably the Russians are just going to ignore it. What can they do? Probably they're going to fight it and say, okay, bring the evidence, and they're going to keep it on and on and on and on. The problem is, I don't know if this is a definite, final statement, like they found this as evidence, we conducted investigation, we allowed the other side to defend itself and bring counter evidence, or, you know, the chance, like you do in a court, or you just declare it. So I say that based on the evidence I gathered, you committed genocide. I'm not going to ask for your defense now. I just determined that, and based on my determination, based on the evidence that convinced me, without asking you, I will place sanctions on you, and I will write in my history books that you're a genocidal state. Is that how it works? Because if that's the way it works, I hope, and if you agree with that, I hope that you are not in a situation when you get in a little scuffle with someone and the police comes and arrests you and don't ask you anything about what happened, but ask only the other side, and based on only the evidence provided by the other side, you will be indicted, convicted, and imprisoned, or maybe, I don't know what the penalty would be. So this is where we are right now. That's serious allegations. If the actions were, as these guys say, there are more serious than the allegations. So I don't see this being solved in any way unless the Russian leadership, the current Russian leadership, just disappears overnight. And then the new ones are going to pay the price for all these accusations and everything what the previous administration or the crazies did. And Russia will be forever stained with this, like Germany with the Second World War, forever. And it's only one way to redeem itself, being a slave state. Kind of like, you know, one I just mentioned. You know, that means they can't really get their head up again because they are forever and ever guilty of something that some other people did. But somehow they are right now still responsible for that. And history will say that the Russians are like this because Russians supported this guy, and because they supported this guy, these guys were, you know, together in this. That's how the story goes. All right. But dropping 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima, no. There's no genocide, there's nothing. There's not even a war crime. That's how they consider it. So I have doubts when I hear this kind of same standard used in certain kind of situations to really have a, you know, my crying heart. Well, sorry for the kids, but I think the perpetrators should be looked not only in Moscow. Okay, that's what I think. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.